Good morning. During the first week of March, ICE snatched up 48 members of our communities here in Santa Fe and in Roswell and Albuquerque. They conducted this so-called enhanced enforcement operation with several other federal agencies, including the FBI. ICE didn't make an announcement about this operation until March 12th. We submitted a complaint to the Department of Homeland Security yesterday because we don't know what's happened to these 4 dozen New Mexicans. They've effectively disappeared. Our organizations haven't heard from them or encountered them in the ICE detention facilities here in our state. The federal government hasn't identified where they're being held or under what authorities. We don't know what conditions of detention they're being subjected to, whether they have access to counsel, or whether they're even still in the United States. They're gone. We know that enforced disappearance is unlawful under the US Constitution. We know that disappearing people is also prohibited under international human rights law. We know that when a government apprehends somebody and conceals what's happened to them or their whereabouts, that's a human rights violation. We're demanding that the DHS Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties and the DHS Office of the Immigration Ombudsman immediately investigate this situation. We're specifically calling on them to ensure the physical and psychological safety of the New Mexicans that have been disappeared, to ensure that they face no retaliation for the complaint that's been submitted, and to pursue accountability for all personnel and contractors involved in this matter. No one here in New Mexico should have to live with this kind of fear, that they or their loved ones could be picked up and effectively disappeared.
1,200 people who were detained at Alligator Alcatraz have vanished, and their records have been completely wiped from the online ICE database. Their families and lawyers have no idea where they are and have no way to reach them. That's over 2/3 of the detainees who are being held there who are just gone. This information comes at the same time as reports confirm that ICE is using untraceable military flights to send immigrants to prison camps in third world countries. This is literally exactly how a certain tragedy started in 1930s Germany, and now it's repeating here. I cannot even begin to overstate how fucking terrifying it is that our government is actively disappearing people and then wiping all records of their existence. There's absolutely zero mainstream coverage of this, so please save and share to get the word out, because this is something we cannot stay silent on.
ICE is detaining Black people in Chicago. Do you understand? We told y'all it was going to start with Hispanic people and immigrants, and they were already going after Haitians, already going after my people. So I've been saying this, but like they're now detaining, ICE is now detaining Black people in Chicago. They just raided a whole apartment complex. Ain't that crazy? They raided a whole apartment complex. And it didn't matter what you were doing in your apartment. You had people roll up in your house, detain you. And if you had a warrant out, they kept you. That's like, what are you doing in my house in the first place? They're detaining Black people in Chicago. So, okay. All right. So what now? When does when do we stop working and start working? You know, like, because I don't understand, like, what do we do now?
I think we should start being really clear about what's happening in the United States regarding ICE. A new report from the Miami Herald found that of the 1,800 people being detained in Alligator Alcatraz, 2/3 of them have completely disappeared. By that I mean they've gone missing from ICE's national online database, and their families have been unable to get in contact with them or locate them. What they found is that during these periods of being unable to be located by their lawyers or their families, detained migrants are being deported out of the United States without the ability to contact their family or their lawyers. Now, as of September 2025, 17 people have died in ICE custody since the beginning of this year. That includes 39-year-old Ismael Ayala Uribe, who died in an ICE detention center after days of medical neglect. Uribe has lived in the United States for the last 35 years after being brought to this country at the age of 4. He was a DACA recipient but was denied DACA renewal in 2016. And just a few days ago, ICE officers in Chicago shot and killed a man while trying to detain him for deportation. So just to recap, hundreds of people are going missing and then being deported without proper legal representation, while dozens of people have died in ICE custody or at the hands of ICE officers. And all of this has happened just in the last 9 months. If the United States were any other country, the global community and the mainstream news media would be calling this what it is: an authoritarian government is disappearing and killing civilians with impunity.
This is the most evil thing that our government's doing right now, and not a single soul is talking about it, and it should upset you. Families are being ripped apart and CEOs are cashing in, and it should be illegal. But right now, over 90% of the people being detained by ICE aren't in government facilities. They're locked up in 4 prison systems run by companies like Geo Group and Core Civic. These corporations are making billions of dollars a year. In 2022 alone, under the Biden administration, they made over $1.6 billion from ICE contracts. For 2025, Donald Trump's done a great job at creating profit. You could say concentrated profit for these corporations. Geo Group is projected to pull in $2.5 billion. Core Civic, around $2 billion. This isn't about public safety. This is about capitalism, profiting off of human suffering. This is going to upset everyone, Democrats and Republicans. You are the one paying for it. Taxpayers are footing a $3 to $3.5 billion yearly bill to fund this system, and 90% of the detention money is going to private facilities. We're literally paying corporations to lock up vulnerable people, and even when centers sit empty, like the ones in California, costing us $85 million a year, the checks still go out. Here's the real kicker though. These companies aren't just collecting our taxpayer money. They're using taxpayer money to rig the system. Geo Group donated over $700,000 to Trump-aligned PACs. Core Civic threw in $500,000 to Trump's inauguration. Why? It's because back in 2019, Trump pushed for 100,000 detention beds. These companies saw billion-dollar signs floating in the air, and they're still profiting under both the Republicans and the Democrats. You follow the money here. Think about what that means. Every additional detainee is profit signs. Every mother separated from their child. Every asylum seeker is being locked away. And human lives are being reduced to line items on a corporate balance sheet. The conditions inside of these centers, there's reports of abuse, medical neglect, overcrowding, and deaths. And all of it is being funded by taxpayer dollars. If this makes you as furious as it makes me, please share this video. Call your representatives and demand an end to for-profit detention. No corporation should profit off of human misery. Be sure to follow along as I continue to post updates on this story.
Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Anthony, and as usual, today we are talking about ICE agents. I know most of you, my viewers, are between 30 to 60 years old. And some of you, your fathers fought in the World War I. Or some of you, your grandfathers fought in the World War I. Now, what we are witnessing with these ICE agents is what your ancestors landed at Normandy to fight against. Now, it is the same thing we are seeing happening on our very own soil. I know if they even woke up today or resurrected today, they would be really ashamed of what we have turned into as a country.
There are reports emerging of ICE holding people, new detainees who are being brought to detention centers on buses, like outside of detention centers, where they are keeping people handcuffed while they sleep upright on these buses for upwards of a week with no access to a bathroom, where people are peeing on themselves, defecating on themselves, having seizures. And I am rattled to my core, which is saying something because I am a deportation defense attorney. I have been in many, many ICE detention centers, which have been abhorrent places of torture under every president in recent memory, of course. And so it takes a lot. It takes a lot to rattle me. And I'm speaking on behalf of myself, not on behalf of any organization. This is not legal advice, etc., etc. But I feel like as someone bearing witness, this needs to be told. And ultimately, immigration detention should not exist. Every single presidential administration since George W. Bush, including Obama, including Biden, Trump, 2016 and Trump now, has used immigration detention and abhorrent detention conditions as a method of deterrence to deter people from coming. And so this existing system of torture has allowed the Trump administration to ramp it up in jaw-dropping ways. Imagine yourself or your loved one shackled in a bus seat for a week. The end goal is abolish ICE. The end goal is abolish ICE detention. And I do think history someday will look back on immigration detention and ICE detention as a form of concentration camps, torture sites, and as ICE as Gestapo. And I'm saying this as a Jew as well. I have no words. No words. Or I have many words. I don't know.
ICE have now started deporting people to Africa for detainment. 8 men in the custody of ICE were told that they were being moved to an ICE detainment center in Louisiana from Texas, only to their shock to find out that they later arrived in Djibouti. The men were held for weeks in shipping containers, shackles on their hands and their legs. This weekend, they were expelled to South Sudan, another country they have no ties to. This deception is highlighting the lengths at which U.S. under Trump's advisement will go to start deporting people to third-party countries under this entire ICE immigration lockdown. Lawyers for the 3 men said that once they resisted, they were told, "You're going to Louisiana. Don't worry, we're not going to deport you anywhere else." And imagine boarding a plane in Texas, thinking you're going on an hour or 2-hour flight max to Louisiana, and you end up in Djibouti. We know that this administration has said that they're going to start deporting people to countries they have no ties to, which will then make them migrants 2 times over, or immigrants 2 times over, because if I immigrate to America, why would you make me an immigrant in Djibouti? Happy Friday.
Day 4 of telling the world my father was detained by ICE, deported, and now he's dead because they stopped giving him his life-saving medication. And I am here as a first-generation Mexican-American to call for an end to alligator Auschwitz, call for an end to all concentration camps on United States soil. This is not fucking okay. We have to start calling it what it is and demanding justice. So I never came on here and told my dad's story for any kind of monetary value or to sue. But now it's like, fuck the United States government. You want to know what? They made me feel so small and so insignificant. I just have to fucking realize that there's thousands of us that this has affected. When we come together, we are powerful, and they don't want us to know that. This is my life's purpose. I just realize now that I can't go on with daily life just posting normal things anymore. Like, I just feel like called. I feel called to speak. I feel called to act. And I don't know where this is going to go, but I just came on here to tell my dad's story, and gotta stop letting them make us feel so small and like we're nothing, okay? We're something. I might just be a 5'2" little demon, but my daddy didn't raise no bitch. My dad stood on business, and I'm gonna stand on business. He was one hardworking motherfucker, and I am going to make him proud. I know he's proud.
Hi, my name is Taylor, and I'm a social worker who volunteers my time to help people in ICE detention and their families navigate the black hole of the system. And I have some reports from inside this detention facility to share with you from my clients. The news is reporting on some of this, but not all of this, and I want to share the reports directly from inside. Rather than the alligator Alcatraz cages, the inside of the cell blocks within these tents are constructed from sheet metal, which one of my clients said looks like the inside of a walk-in freezer. Dust from the desert frequently blows through the facility. It floods several inches of water or more each time it rains. The units are divided to be each between around 60 to 80 people. People are placed in jumpsuits in different colors based on their threat level and accused crime. There are 4 colors of jumpsuits: red, orange, blue, and gray. Red means dangerous and usually indicates a violent crime, but this has not been true for all of my clients. Some of them have no dangerous or violent crimes and are put in red jumpsuits for advocating for themselves. Orange usually indicates a misdemeanor and mild threat. Blue indicates traffic violations like driving without a license and no threat. Gray indicates absolutely no criminal history or threat. The food has been moldy, over a month expired, and in portions my clients say are less than a child's size. People are getting requests for medical care completely ignored, including broken bones that appear to need surgery. Many people are sick, some with COVID symptoms, some with frequent stomach aches from the food, some are sneezing and coughing blood, which may be due to the dust from the desert. Some detainees are being offered additional food and phone credits in exchange for doing cleaning work around the facility. Because the facility is so new, there are no ICE agents assigned to the facility, meaning that ICE agents from other facilities occasionally will come over and talk to detainees about their cases, but they often have no information because there aren't enough staff to transfer their cases to Texas, and the process is very delayed. People who get answers from ICE are often told that if they have a charge, they have to clear the charge before being considered for immigration bond or deportation. People are getting hearing dates in immigration court set in 2026. If they have their court date, the judges responsible for handling cases at the immigration court assigned to the facility often delay cases further because they want to take their lunch, they don't have jurisdiction because the cases have been transferred, and don't even allow lawyers to speak in the courtroom. My clients report riots are occurring frequently, when people are hungry, when they haven't seen ICE agents in weeks, and when the TVs aren't working because they have the time to think about what is happening to them. If you have the capacity to donate to families affected, please do so at the spreadsheet of fundraisers at the link in my bio. I will provide a list of politicians elected to Homeland Security oversight committees. If you have the capacity to call, especially if you are in their districts, please share what is happening to people and demand oversight and accountability. Thank you.
So Ice told his family that he died, but they were lying. He wasn't dead. He was deported secretly. Louis Leon is 82-year-old. He lived in Pennsylvania for nearly 40 years. No criminal record. He raised the family, but after losing his green card, he walked into an immigration office to get a replacement and never came home. ICE detained him on the spot. No call, no hearing, no race. His family searched everywhere. ICE said nothing. Then came the phone call. He died. But that was a lie. Weeks later, they found him alive, dumped in a hospital in Guatemala, a country he's never even lived in. ICE disappeared an elderly man, lied to his family, and deported him secretly. This is what authoritarianism looks like, and it's only going to get worse under Project 2025. Demand answers, demand his return, because if they can't do this to him, they can do it to anyone.
I don't want to suggest anything, but do you know what is organ harvesting? Do you know organ harvesting? I'm not suggesting anything, I'm just asking you, do you know organ harvesting? Now, in 2022, United States government was all over the place when they were accusing China of ethnically cleansing the Uyghur Muslims and other minority Muslim groups in China. They claim that from 2014 to 2022, China had violated human rights against these Uyghur Muslims by placing them in concentration camps. And the American government, which over its course has killed over 2 million Muslims, was accusing China. Now, let's see their hypocrisy with what they are doing with ICE. We are on a human rights watch list. Yes, we are on watch list because our president is causing human rights violations on our very own soil. It's very troubling. Now, how can 1,200 people vanish without trace? Where are they? Where are they? Were they sold as slaves? Were they sold maybe for some dark magic or some dark stuff we don't know about? Where are these people? Because not 200 cows, not 200 sheep, not 200 goats, not 200 fish, 200 humans, 1,200 humans got lost out of nowhere. It's like the Malaysian airplane lost out of nowhere. 1,200 ICE detainees have lost without trace, and it's really happening. And I follow on the news, and first they wipe out your identity before grabbing you. Like, let's say you are in the process of applying for naturalization, and you're in the process, it's maybe 1 year or some few months into effect. You know, these issues of court attendances, whatever. What they do, they go to the system, they erase your data. It's like now, you came here, you are no one, you got no identity. Now they snatch you, and you get lost. People have no way of tracking you down. So even to the American citizens, find your social security card or your birth certificate and take photos of them. I know maybe you forgot where they are, but at the moment it's necessary. Your data will be wiped out, you'll be snatched from the streets because maybe you are talking about the government in a wrong way and you get lost. It's terrifying what's happening out there. If we don't stick together, we are damned. So despite your skin color, despite your ideologies politically, we need to stick together. Terrible things are happening out there. Kids are being snatched from schools. People are being dragged from their homes. It's really an horror story, and there is no question this is evil. It is so sad to see how many villains are in our world at this time of our existence. So guys, until the next video, thank you for your attention to this matter.